welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Happy to be here with you. And of course, very happy to be picture in picture with a good friend of mine, someone who has allowed me the opportunity to tell his story. And, on the air, any good things that you've heard off the air, he's been an even nicer person, even, just a kind, humble, down to earth human being. And feel very spoiled to be around the Torrence family and in its entirety, to be honest with you, with Mom and Pop, and of course with Syer and Symir. And we're here with Symir Torrence here on this edition of Wake Up Call, Marquette, Syracuse, and Binghamton alum who's now playing overseas for Loimaa Bisons in Finland. And this is his first opportunity of professional basketball, taking him just all around this beautiful spinning rock that we call Earth. So with that being said, Mr. Torrence, how are we doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. Appreciate you having me once again. It feels good to be back on here.
Yeah, man, it's always my pleasure and my honor, as you know. What are you snacking on right now? I gotta know.
I got some gummy bears, man. I needed some sweets. I had practice a couple hours ago, and me and my boy, he's from Washington. We decided to go to the store. I needed some late night snacks, and I grabbed some gummy bears.
Yeah.
My first time eating some sweets over here too.
How are the gummy bears over in Finland?
Now they're good. Everything over here is a lot healthier, so it's a little different, but it's good for your body, especially for athletes.
Yeah, it's like gummy bear flavor, carrot, like avocado gummy bears. So what are these, just like your normal strawberry, pineapple, green apple, orange? Is it like that, or is it something different?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty it's pretty normal. Like
Happy
the
bears.
taste is pretty normal. It's just like it's not as much like sugary
Yeah.
or sweet as you have in like the states, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think anybody would find when you travel around the world that American food is like set up to just make your life a little shorter. So I, I feel like they're like, yeah, all that stuff that you don't put in it, like, yeah, we put that in there. And I think they said like companies, like known companies, will have their product in America and then in another country, and in the other country there's less ingredients, they don't put certain things in it. And I thought that was wild. So what is the food like over in Finland?
Man, I just tell you, like it's just everything is healthy over here. Like the air, the environment, just everything is like organic. Um, Even like you're gonna find like it's crazy because you're just gonna find out quick like what's good for you, what's not. Even some of the medicine that we take in the States over here, it's not really good for you. And I learned and seen firsthand like everything that we take in the States is not really good for you. So it's kind of amazing to be over here because you kind of get to see different things and how other cultures live. So
So what stuff are we taking that we shouldn't? Educate me today. Educate the
be
famous.
honest, I haven't really found out the specific medicine that we shouldn't take.
Okay.
So I had to like because I get seasonal allergies and I had to
Ditto.
tell that to my coaches because they were really like they were informing us that we can't take everything that we take in the States,
Okay.
and we have to like kind of like turn in all the things that we think we can take. And I take obviously Advil. We take Advil in the States. We take ibuprofen, and I don't take Zyrtec anymore, but I take it's something with a Z for my allergies, my seasonal allergies, and I had reported that back to my coaches, and they said that was fine. But I'll definitely get down to it on what we can't take and what we should be able to take. But it's a lot of stuff over here that isn't good for us, that I'm learning about. So it's interesting.
Yeah, write it all down and text it to me. so, but I mean, I have seasonal allergies as well, and my allergies, get pretty crazy at times. And I've joked with people that I have New York allergies because when I'm in Florida and I'm around pollen everywhere, my
But
body's fine except for like maybe a day. And when I come back home and the plane lands in Syracuse, I don't even have to have them open the door to the plane and I get like congested. I feel it in my face. I'm like, is my body like it's like as soon as my body lands, it's like kryptonite to Superman. I can feel this stuff coming in. But then when I'm down in Florida, I'm like, I'm walking around Disney. It's the Flower and Garden Festival. There's a million trees and pollen and all this stuff everywhere and I'm good. And then I come home and this one bee carries a piece of pollen by me and I'm like, you know what? I got a headache now. So like,
yeah,
it's
no, I feel
crazy how
you.
your body kind of to certain places and certain things like you got worse allergies where you live as opposed to where you visit. But I take allergy stuff too. It's Equate. It's the same active ingredient as Allegra, but it's just cheaper than Allegra. So that's the one that it's the 24-hour non-drowsy one. So if your coaches say no, I need you to tell me.
I got you.
So, but yeah, how are the allergies doing over there?
No, it's pretty good to be honest. We haven't hit that really cold weather yet.
Okay.
I'm interested to see what that feels like because I've been to a lot of cold places. I obviously was born and raised in one. Went to Marquette, Wisconsin. Is pretty dang cold. Then bounced an hour away from Syracuse to Binghamton. Binghamton's pretty cold, and now I'm in Finland where it gets freezing cold because of the lakes and the ocean. So
Yeah, and where you are, I mean, you're obviously right there by the Norwegian Sea. What is the atmosphere like? What does it look like in Finland? Because to kind of paint a picture for people, you're by Sweden, you're by Norway, and so in this area and kind of being right there and by the water as well. What have you seen? How would you describe it compared to where you specifically are in Finland?
yeah, if I had to like a place to describe it to, it would probably be like maybe like um maybe like Rome a little bit, like
Okay.
kind of in the middle of nowhere, kind of not too far away from like the cities. Like Rome isn't too far away from Albany. It's not too far away from Syracuse, so it's kind of like in the middle of like the cities. It kind of it's like its own town. It's not too bad. The town itself is pretty nice. The people are like really nice over here. It's a lot of older people. Um, there's a high school that we play at. The high school shows a lot of love to the pro athletes over here. But it's pretty nice. It's a small town, and everybody shows support to the Loimaa Bisons.
And you're right by Russia as well
Yeah.
too. So, do you get a sense for any of that? I mean, with all the talk in America, everything that we hear in the states from the media that's there, do you hear anything in Finland? Is there any concern? Are people just kind of relaxed, going about their lives? Like, what is life like on the other side of the world?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely like I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say I'm not concerned or interested because I'm definitely all ears and I'm definitely aware of everything and stuff like that. Just because I'm not home, I'm not where I wouldn't say comfortable because I'm kind of getting comfortable now, but I'm still like still interested, I'm still concerned, and I still gotta just worry about where I am at all times. But over here, seeing it's pretty calm. Finland has been in war with Russia, and I've heard multiple sources that Finland has won, but they're not at any war with anybody right now. So I think we're in a pretty good spot. But I am like obviously praying every day, and I know my family's praying for me every day. So as long as I'm like in God's hands, I know I'll be okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as of right now, I'm pretty good. The city, the town, the country of Finland, I know is in pretty good hands right now. So we're
And
in a good
you
spot.
and you said, what'd you say?
I just said we're in a good. I guess we're in a good place right now since we're not at war with anybody. So
Yeah, and you said, and I, how much I appreciate when, you hear other people talk about God, because God is front and center for me. You said I'm in God's hands, so, I have nothing to worry about. Was there, having that faith that you have, did you say anything, like, when this opportunity presented itself, did you look up to God and say, like, are you sure? You know what I mean? Like, are you good?
yeah,
I mean, we go where God leads us, and it says in the Bible, whatever door God opens, no man can close. Whatever door God closes, no man can open. So when this door opened, did you just look up and say, hey, God, I'm going to go wherever to play this sport that I love and do the thing that I love? I'm going to go with the door that opens.
for sure. Definitely spot on. Whatever door he opens for me, I'm definitely gonna walk through, but I'm gonna walk in his faith. And I'm not gonna just second guess his decision because I know he's doing it for a reason. And the outcome is soon to become what I'm interested to know. So as long as I'm keeping my faith in his hands and um, just kind of praising to him on how good he has been, no matter what the situation is, I feel like I'm always going to be in good hands as long as I'm with him. So.
Coming here from Symir Torrence, awesome words, and we're going to talk about how this opportunity happened with Finland right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Stay with us.
That we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every.
Here's a message from Renee from Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Brian and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Brian's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno, owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business, had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees, and as much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there's something about, owning my own company and being able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand, which is why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in '07, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There's a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There's a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience. It's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent something, we wanted to make sure what we were making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customer say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really changed the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allowing customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality. And I think on both of those fronts, Servamation has really, in large part, changed that value system for employees. So they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machine, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean to cup coffee machine. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees. Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. In a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I can tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com. And welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. I am picture in picture with Symir Torrence, who comes to us from Finland. So, Symir, my question to you is, you had stops at Marquette, Syracuse, and Binghamton. Now you're in Finland. Do you just want to rack up as many stops as possible and have as many pins in this world when it comes to basketball? Because it seems like you have worked to make your mark, and you said yes to Marquette. You worked hard there. You spent time there. You came home to Syracuse. You worked hard here and definitely made a believer out of me in the things that I saw, and then went on to Binghamton and showcased what you could do as far as creating for your teammates and being a leader. And now you're playing pro basketball. So my question is, how many places are going to know the name Symir Torrence?
To be honest, I don't know. It's all up to God. I'm gonna follow his way, but I feel like I have a good team around me. I have a good support system. So we're just gonna figure out what's next after this season. After the season wraps up, I'm off to a good start, but we're gonna take the chances on whatever program, whatever team, whatever country wants me to be myself, and sees the strengths in me and want the strengths. So yeah, I'm just gonna go wherever I can kind of show my strengths and build on my own, build on my individual skills, and just go from there.
So how did it happen? how did this moment come to be that you're in Finland? Bring me into the events that led us to the Loimaa Bisons.
Yeah, I mean, I start from kind of like right after the season. I actually didn't know what I wanted to do. I was back and forth if I wanted to keep playing. Um, it was obviously uh, a rough 5 years in college that I've had. Obviously dealing with different programs and kind of trying to find myself back into the basketball world. And then I wanted to get into coaching, but I didn't know if it was too early to get into coaching. So I just kind of just took a step back from basketball, just felt like a little bit during after the season, and kind of figured out like what's the best fit for me, what's the best option. Kind of build the team from there. Surrounded myself around people that were only good for me and only kind of trying to help me find my way. And then I ended up taking the route of wanting to do it more just because I had a lot of people around me like saying like, yo, you're not finished. You still have a lot to prove, not to anybody else because you've done that already. You've made it this far. But to prove to yourself that you're this good and that you can do plenty more. So I'm truly grateful with the people I've had around me, especially the past year. I feel like I've done a good job of kind of building a circle of just positivity, and building that kind of that foundation for not only me but for the people around me to just look at whatever they're doing and just achieve, if that makes sense. So just to get back on track, I started to like get back into the role of playing basketball. So I started to train, but I started to train a lot differently. I started to train a lot harder.
Okay.
Um, Train with a lot of my former teammates slash best friends, Jaden Graves, Mike Adams Wood, Charles Pride, a bunch of other athletes around Syracuse, and kind of just went back to like kind of square one of where it all started. Started training with Coach Gill again. Started to kind of just have fun with the game again. Playing in a lot of leagues around the town, letting a lot of people who haven't seen me play on TV, seen me play in person, whether that was outside or indoor or just a lot of rec leagues, kind of just to get the love and the feeling back into the game. So I was just kind of waiting. Haven't picked an agency yet. I want to say it was kind of like because I waited a long time, and me and my mom said we wasn't going to rush the process. Um, and the longer I waited, the more opportunities came with the agencies, and I ran into this person. His name is AJ. He's living in Albany right now. So I ran into him in Albany at the time where I was with my AAU coach, Coach Jim Hart, and we kind of had a conversation. He wasn't really into the agency yet, but then he found his way into the agency, into OT Sports. So then he gave me a text saying that he was doing it, but he wasn't really like an agent yet, but he's an agent, so he's kind of like my secondary guy, but my first dairy guy. So then he kind of wrapped up with me like, hey, like I'm looking forward to doing this with you. If you give me the opportunity, well, I'm really grateful to kind of like take your game and take your ability to play pro basketball to the next level. And him knowing my game since eighth grade, I want to say, because he's been following me for a while. Just didn't know he was following me for a while, so he kind of kept a little profile, kept a little radar, and that's the thing. Like I'm truly grateful on how I was raised, and I was raised specifically for me the right way. Like I kind of went about like whatever was going on, whatever I've had go on the court, off the court. I always kept a smile on my face, and a lot
Yeah.
of people always um, kind of look back on that and tell me like even though like things didn't go your way, you still kept a positivity to yourself. So I'm truly grateful for that because that's what kind of built a lot of relationships for me. And I feel like that's what kind of gave me the opportunity that I had with AJ. So then we set up a meeting. He ended up coming to Syracuse to meet with my mom and dad face to face. Went over all the things. Um, and I told him right in the spot, like, yeah, I'm gonna sign with your agency. I'm gonna sign with you. Just because of like the relationship peeps, and I feel like a lot of people don't really know like how important building relationships is, especially like
Yeah.
going on during your future, because that can really help you. You just never know, like that person might know another person, and the person that you've met, he can like guide you into so many different directions, and the more the more it's just being nice to people. Like you're always gonna get something good by being nice to people. It might not be soon, but it's definitely gonna be later. So I'm just truly grateful for that. And then after I signed with them, it was all about just being patient and finding the right opportunity. And then I met with my actual agent, Dave. I'll get you his last name later. It's kind of crazy that I don't remember his last name, but then in the summer we kind of built more relationship. I kind of went to Albany just to train for like a week. They got me a trainer from out of Nashville, and then he came up and we kind of went through like my whole last year at Binghamton, what made me special and kind of what needs to happen in order for me to be a pro and to be consistent and stuff like that. So it was really good. Uh, Kind of went to that. I want to say that pro ability of me like training how a pro is,
Yeah.
and it was just really good to see that. And then after that week, I kind of felt like, all right, this is what I had to do. I had a plan. Then I started to work out with my little brother and all my best friends on a daily at home every single day. And then that's when I started to get into training little kids because it was not only helping them, but it was also helping me to be more consistent in the gym and kind of find new things for them to work on while I'm also working on my stuff. So kept me active. And then like I was playing the long game, I was playing the patient game. I had a lot of countries that I've had on the table, but my agency was like really like just being patient on, all right, what's the best fit? What's the best opportunity for him to kind of stand out and kind of have a good first pro year because I've learned that your first couple years in overseas like is very important. You kind of want to start off on a good note. You don't want to go to a low team, but you don't want to go pretty. You don't want to go too high because you might not get enough minutes. So it's just all about finding that right fit. And Loimaa Bisons from Finland seemed to be the right fit. Um, and ever since I got here, I've never felt better.
Yeah.
They've given me the opportunity to shine, and I feel like I've been doing a good job, and I'm continuing to do more. So it's been good.
And I appreciate, painting that full road to where we are today. And, like you said, relationships are so incredibly important. And I mean, without them, you and I aren't here, right? If I was your typical media person, there's no way that I would have your number and there's no way we'd be talking right now. So, I know how important relationships are. And I know, you're someone who's very purposeful in the ones that you build, and ditto for me too. And so, I hear you talk about this road and finding the right people and Dave and AJ and, being with your mom and trying to figure this out and saying, like, we're not going to rush. We're going to take our time and looking at different countries on the table and which one's going to offer the best opportunity for you long term. And I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised in the methodical aspect. I'm sure you prayed on it and tried to figure these things out. But I want to genuinely thank you for publicizing the importance of relationships, because who are we without them, essentially?
Exactly, for sure. Definitely wouldn't be in this position without the relationships that I built. And that's it's just like you're not gonna get anywhere by um what's the word, by being like selfish or being a individual. Like
Yeah.
everyone needs help. We just gotta find out what we need help in, and once we find that what we need help in, and we allow ourselves to bring in information from each other, then who knows where we can be at. So
Yeah. And for you and you brought up Jim Hart, and I don't know if you know this, but I've gotten to know Jim like many years ago. I first started talking to him. So when it comes to City Rocks and AAU and just who he is, and I mean, I could text him right now, and we haven't talked for, let's say, months. And I'll just be
you're
like, hey,
fine.
Jim, what's up? Just checking in. And I'll get a text message back either right away or at some point and be like, hey, Dan, good to hear from
Yeah.
you. Like, what's going on with you, man? You talk about relationships. What is it about Jimmy? Because he has so many people come through the City Rocks. He knows so many people, yet he doesn't seemingly forget anyone. So,
Oh,
what's it like to be
sure,
around
yeah.
Jimmy? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, once I'll say once you're his guy, especially once he coached you,
Yeah.
he's never gonna forget. Especially if you've been respectful, if you've been like responsible and showed nothing but love to his program, he's definitely gonna try his best to give back in so many different ways. And I feel like Coach Hart has always been there every step of the way, ever since I've met him, since I was little, since fifth grade. And he's been nothing but like another mentor for me, and has been helping the family out with just kind of monitoring my money, and it's just been a big help in so many different ways, and I can only thank him for it.
Yeah.
And yeah, like he's it's not only doing this for me. Like I know plenty of other athletes that I've played with that I've looked up to in the City Rocks program that he's helping and mentoring. So that's just who he is. He's a helper. He loves to do it. It's not like he wants to do it for a certain outcome, but that's just who he is, and truly grateful to have somebody like him in a circle of mine.
And speaking of in your circle, you mentioned your friends that you're working out with. Another guy that I have a great relationship with, like I have with you. You and I have a special bond, and I would like to say I have a special bond with this gentleman as well. And you're eating gummy bears, but he's known as Sour Patch. So, Charles Pride, tell me about being around Chuck again and what it's like to hang out with Charles.
Yeah, I mean, after the both of the years that we've had, and how we ended our college season, it was really good.
Yeah.
After I tried to recruit him to Binghamton, while we were both in the portal, it was nothing but fun. Just like you just like when you talk about old friends like that, childhood friends, you just kind of get chills. You feel nothing but joy because you kind of reminisce on the path that we took, and you knew how hard it was, how just like how hard working we had to, uh, like how hard work just pays off at the end of the day. Like we've we went through so much together and individually. Like I remember when we were little, we were working out at the YMCA, going to all these camps around town, all over the East Coast, and now I look at like where we are now, and he's getting the opportunity to play on the NBA level, and I'm getting the opportunity to play on the pro level overseas. It brings me nothing but like a smile to my face because we're from a little town that's called Syracuse, and a lot of people only know Syracuse for the college. They don't know Syracuse for the town or the city. So it brings me nothing but a smile on my face how hard we've came, how hard we work, and I know our families are both proud. And not even just basketball. Like we've played football together since we were younger.
Yeah.
So we have so many memories that we had together, and we still talk to this day. Like I know he's in and out of training. He's probably in the gym right now, either at St. Bonnie's or he's back in Syracuse. I know he had a little alumni kind of thing for Liverpool on their 2018 and 0 season. So uh, congrats to him on that. I didn't get a sectional championship, so I mean it was really special to see that. Um, but yeah, like I said, like you don't see that too much in Syracuse, and to see us at this level, I know the city's proud. I'm proud of him. I know he's proud of me, and it doesn't stop from here. Like we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep improving, and we're gonna also keep giving back. And I don't know if you noticed, he just like did something like really huge for the city, and that was um he had what did he do? Like he had what's the word? He had like kind of combined himself with Hoop Group. And like I said, the connecting piece is like really key. And he's had a lot of connections as well as me, and he was able to bring Hoop Group, which is a big camp, worldwide camp, uh, in the United States, and he was able to bring it over to Syracuse, and it was just recently it recently happened this past weekend, and I've been in tune and watched that it went really good. I know a lot of kids from high school that were in it, and they gave me a lot of feedback. So I'm just extremely proud of how the older guys, especially in my class, are giving back
Yeah.
and what we're able to like do for the youth.
Yeah, and like you said with Charles, I mean, he spent 4 seasons at Bryant, and then he went on to St. Bonnie's. You made mention that you recruited him when you were in the transfer portal and you decided to leave Syracuse to go to Binghamton, that you recruited him to come with you to Binghamton. Bring me into those conversations, and did you think it was close at any point that maybe he could have been in Binghamton?
But yeah, we had a shot. I feel like if Micah wasn't in the transfer portal, um, he would have had more of an opportunity to come with me. But it would have still been a long shot. Even though like Brian is in the still the same conference as Binghamton, and I know his dream was always play high major, so he was still looking that route.
Yeah.
Like I said, like at the end of the day, you kind of want to find what's best for you at the end of the day, and
Yeah.
we've talked about it. Like I wasn't too mad. I wasn't mad at all, to be honest, but I would have really loved to like play with him, especially for a season, but it didn't end up working out. But we did end up getting to play each other. Um, it was a good first half, and then they kind of got the best of us being uh, a top A10 team like they were last year.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, it ended up being pretty good. I mean, we all three of us, me, Micah, and Charles had a good ending college season, and that's all I was really hoping for. Like I just wanted everybody to have like a great ending college season, and for us to kind of get where we are today.
Yeah, and as you eat your Finland gummy bears, aka Happy Bears, I have made myself, and I want to show this because this obviously the statement on here is important to me.
The
Ace,
ASAP,
yeah,
always stay and pray.
always stop and
Stop and
pray. Yep,
pray. Stop
yeah,
and pray.
always
I
stop and
like
pray. So inside of this, thank you. Inside of that thermos is I've been making healthy shakes and healthy smoothies essentially. So strawberry, peanut butter, natural peanut butter, strawberry, banana, and almond milk. And that's been like my 2 meals combined into one. So while you're eating that, I'm eating / drinking this. So I was like, if people see me swishing this around, like, what is in that mug?
Yeah.
But I'm loving the smoothie. I like making homemade smoothies because then I know what's in it and I know what I'm doing. So, and it's simple. The peanut butter keeps everything together, gives it that thicker, obviously consistency. And then strawberry banana is my thing, and almond milk. That's my route. So, as we get to enjoy my smoothie, your Happy Bears, if you could have any American meal today. Like if your parents could ship something to Finland, what would you have?
It's crazy because my sister is actually about to she's about to come up here. She's actually coming tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not gonna force her to make some food, but if she wants to make some food, I'll be happy. But if I can have any American food right now, it would have to be Chick-fil-A. Like if it was going to be fast food, and it's crazy because I haven't been craving it.
Yeah.
But that's something that has been on my mind like in the past week. Just like the shake, the cookie, the chocolate chip cookie, the fruit there, like it's just something about Chick-fil-A, just the service, everything that Chick-fil-A has is just really good. So I would say probably Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
Tropical smoothie. That's one of my favorite spots now. So shout out to them. I love their smoothies. They have good protein shakes, and they got a good they have good like fruit bowls that me and the guys always have after workout. So those two spots for sure.
You said shake, you said the cookie, fruit, and whatnot. What is your go-to meal from Chick-fil-A?
I'll get the number one, which is a chicken sandwich. I'll get the spicy chicken sandwich, with everything on it, pickles included. I don't know why people don't like pickles. Like pickles are good for you.
True.
I'll get pickles. I'll get the meal. I'll either just get the sandwich or I'll get the meal.
Okay.
If I get the sandwich, I'll do the 8 count nugget meal with the fries. And then I'll go strawberry lemonade, but I'll also go vanilla or chocolate milkshake, depending on the day, depending on how I feel. I'll always get a chocolate chip cookie no matter what. I'll always get fruits, and from time to time I'll get macaroni and cheese. So that'd be like my go-to meal.
You genuinely named that's like my recent meal, which is like the spicy chicken, and then I would get a side. I would get spicy chicken, get the fries, get a side of nuggets. So yeah, you just described, because where I'm like, I want the sandwich, but I also want the nuggets. So you just described like to a T what I would get food wise as the main meal. And with that being said, we're going to take a quick step aside. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about what's going on out in Finland, what life has been like. Sai said he's doing things a little bit differently, pushing himself a little bit harder. We're going to get into that right after this, which will include a message from Chick-fil-A Cicero. So there you go, Sai.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge, and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. He kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily, and we bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they're always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Back here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We are here with Symir Torrence. He is off in Finland and playing for the Loimaa Bisons and having the conversation about how it all came about, as well as his faith, the process, and working with good friends, longtime friends like Charles Pride, as well as getting to work out with his brother Syracuse, who is now at Boston College doing his thing on the football side of things. You talked about not only playing basketball with Syracuse or with Charles, but also, playing football. So bring me into that, Symir, because your brother Syracuse obviously went the football route, got recruited by a bunch of teams, Syracuse included, got recruited by conferences all over the country, power conferences as they are called, quote unquote, and he's at Boston College. Can you take it to him on the football field? Be honest.
Hell no. Absolutely not. Yeah, I won't even. No, I'll try because that's just the competitor that I am, and football was my first love, so
Yeah.
I'm not too far from I guess the talent level of football.
Okay.
But he'll definitely be able to guide me. And these games right now are really crazy right now. I think every game that was at 1 o'clock your time, 8 o'clock my time, have went into like the last seconds. Like I think the Jags just won on a field goal, or I think they're about to win just on a field goal. Texans just won on a field goal to the Buffs. Baltimore's about to win on a field goal to the Bengals. It's great night football right now. So that's crazy how we're talking about football. It's been great. But yeah, he's too talented. Especially at his age, he's more athletic. He's more just capable of moving a lot better than I was at that age. I truly believe when people say like football players are like the best athletes, I feel like they are just because of how they train and kind of what they can do. They're more flexible to do other sports in a way.
Yeah.
And obviously like how they play is just incredible. So yeah, I'm nowhere near stopping my little brother on the field.
And I mean, Boston College obviously cares about Central and Upstate New York. Arguably has recruited Central and Upstate New York better than any other Division 1A school, including Syracuse, over the years, no matter who the coach was, from Steve Adazio to Jeff Halfley to now Bill O'Brien. And they've done a tremendous job. They go to Christian Brothers Academy a lot, which is down the road from Syracuse University. That's where your brother was, and that's where they found him. And, just excited to see what his career is going to look like as well. Has he given you any advice on your career? As he stepped into college and you stepped out of college, did you say something to him? Did he say something to you?
Yeah, like I've always taken away something from him. He's definitely more hardworking than I was, more determined. His attitude that he brings to everyday situation has been just great. You don't see that too many, especially as a freshman. Um, so he's been doing great, especially with the limited opportunity that he's been getting. But I guarantee you, when he gets that opportunity of getting on the field more, he's not gonna let up. Um, and something that I always tell him, like, yeah, it's never gonna get easy from here on out.
Yeah.
You just gotta find a way to balance everything, which is hard, especially as a college athlete. I feel like when you're in college and you're playing sports, I feel like this is the most difficult but most memorable, also the most fun time you're gonna have. So all of those three things that I've named, you have to just find a way to balance them all. You're gonna have down days, you're gonna have happy days, and you're gonna have days that you just don't even care. So you just gotta find a way to balance them all. You gotta be around people who have the same goals as you in a way,
Yeah.
because that's kind of it makes things easier, especially being away from home. You want to see your family all the time. You want to see your friends all the time. But you're not able to do that. Like just as uh, it's just like me. I'm kind of going a step back and kind of going through that whole process again of being away from family.
Yeah.
Um, Knowing when to pick up the phone, knowing when not to, knowing when to take care of business. The only difference is I'm not doing schoolwork anymore. Like basketball is now officially my job,
Yeah.
and I've worked hard for it to be my job. So that's the only thing that's really different. Now for him is just like I said, like balancing it all. Thank God that they have changed the rules now that athletes can get paid now in college, and I feel like that makes it a lot easier on the athlete because now they have some income coming in. They don't have to rely on their parents to give them money. I know my mom's really happy about that, even though she's obviously still helping them out. But it's all gonna work out at the end of the day. So
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, you're essentially going through the going to college feel again as a pro because you're away from home and you're in something new, you're in a new environment, you don't know anybody. So it is kind of unique in how God works in the parallel that your brother Syer goes into college, you leave college, but then you go into this playing professionally overseas. So you're paralleling each other, going to places that are away from home where you don't know a lot of people, where you're trying to figure out where's your spot to eat, where's your this, where's your that, and to build those relationships away from home. So I find it really amazing, going off of what you said, that you and Syer are experiencing something very similar in very different situations.
for sure. Yeah, like I said, like I try not to communicate with him as much. I know that might sound like okay, like how are you being like a big brother in that sense, but we gotta remember, like, as college athletes we hear so many different voices throughout the day. We're continuously on our feet. We're continuously listening to someone, whether that's the professor, whether that's coaches, whether that's our teammates, whether that's our family members.
Yeah.
Um, and I know how like overwhelming that can get. So I try to let him just let him fly, let him flap his wings a little bit. I text him. I'll send him motivational speeches sometimes on Instagram, because I know how much that can help, because that helps me. Seeing inspirational video that kind of motivates me to get up and start doing more. So just the little things that I'll tell him, like, um, and I'll just tell him to never stop being himself, which he hasn't not been himself. I think that's like one of his specialties. Like, I kind of went away of being myself when I was in college, and then I kind of gained myself back. I feel like he would never lose himself just because of who he is and how he grew up, and
Yeah.
who he had around him growing up. So I feel like that's like something that's like very important for him that he's had over the years. And I just told him to network. Like this is the time that you can meet so many different people, especially in Boston. Boston's a fantastic city to do it in. There's so many just networking opportunities that you can get involved with, and not only just in the athletic sports, but in the business. And Boston is kind of like a mini New York City in that sense. And it's a great opportunity for him to kind of get his name out there, kind of find out what else does he like, regard of football. So um, I know he's doing well. He actually just texted me earlier today because we were talking about football, and NFL and stuff like that. So he's pretty happy. I just told him, like, hey, like, it's your freshman year, go have fun. Um, go party, go do something. Like go out of your comfort zone, cause you're not gonna get none of these years back.
Yeah. No, and I think that, I mean, that's huge, like you said, to give him his space and let him grow and do what he needs to do, and at the same time to be there and give him advice and try to help him along his way to make good decisions and take care of himself. So, I love that, and I'm sure he appreciates that. And, on your end of it, did he say anything to you? Did he say, you said he's confident in who he is, he knows who he is. There's things about him it sounds like you really appreciate and look up to, even though you're his big brother. So did he say anything to you?
He just told me don't be a loser. That's his motivation for me every day. Just don't don't kind of give away your days. Don't regret the days that you're out there. And that's literally like every day. Yeah, he'll tell me like, yo, don't lose today. Whether that's just on the court and practice, in the game, or just in life in general. Like, just don't be a loser. Um, and I take that advice, uh, and I repeatedly put it in my head, and I always remind myself that my little brother said, "Don't be a loser," so don't be a loser. So
I like that. I like that. I'm going to have to take that too. So, you and I have talked very candidly about so many things and the mental side of it, right? And that's what we're kind of discussing right now is life gets hard. We get in our own heads. And, somebody hit me with something in college. My mentor, Jay Hammerin, incredible guy at Marywood University, and just, I mean, he was at least 70% of the reason why I chose to go to the school I went to. So I go to Marywood, and Jay's there, and he helps me with a bunch of different things, including screenwriting. Some people know this, some people don't, but I wrote at the time of Tobey Maguire, before Spider-Man 3 came out. If I wrote the script is if I was the one that was telling the story, this is the story I would have told. I wrote 88 pages of the script and had a treatment and all this, the backgrounds, what actors and actresses would I have playing which roles. And we were very, very close. I went to a final at 10 o'clock in the morning. I want to say it was on like a Thursday or a Friday. And they said, Jay's not here. So we waited. Thinking, okay, he's going to show up, whatever. Then they told us to go back. And I don't even think he had told his secretary what was going on. So they told, because normally she would tell us. So they said, go back to your room, this and that. And it came on the speakers all throughout school. And Jay Hammerin's passed away. I fell to the ground, clutched the chair that was in my dorm room, cried like stuff coming out of my nose, just hysterically crying. And you talk about the circle that you have around you. The person I was dating at the time, she goes, I know you're sad about it, but don't you think this is a little bit much? When I was feeling that pain. So he passes away. I'm, going through it. And a couple days later, I lost him a second time when I found out that he had taken his own life.
yeah.
And there's times in the spiritual realm or with God or being in tune with certain things, whatever you want to call it, where my time stops, but other people's seemingly doesn't. And when I heard that he had passed away at his own hands, the room, I was in the cafeteria, I was in the big part of the cafeteria. Elisa was sitting across from me. I think she told me. And the room turned like bluish purple, and it started to turn and slow down for a couple minutes in my life. And I remember somebody talking to me about the situation, and they said, suicide happens when instead of you controlling your brain takes control of you.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, that's what happened to Jay. And I've never forgotten that your brain is a powerful thing, but your brain being that powerful thing has to be under your leadership and not the other way around. And it is a daily thing sometimes and I witnessed this in my own life recently, where my mind is like, I've worked so hard to be where I am today, and my mind is strong. And my mind is like, I'm not going back to these places. I'm not thinking these thoughts. I'm not doing these things. I'm not beating up on myself. I'm not going to make myself lose. And then to the time we're talking yesterday, my mind went back, worried about something, brought up all these old thoughts and feelings inside of me, and then I had to fight it back off. And so when we talk about don't be a loser, and we talk about mental health, it's something you and I have discussed before. I think it's incredibly important to remind people that you have to win the day. And you have to fight the devil, especially when you're close to God, especially when things are going well. Because the devil wants you to think, well, remember how you thought these 13 things were going well and then none of them worked out? Well, this is going to be the 14th. And then you look back on your life and you go, would those 13 things have not worked out? Maybe one of them, maybe two of them, maybe 10 of them. But maybe 3 of them were because I went back into this rut. Maybe I ruined it for myself. And I just find it incredibly important at a time where we're talking about your brother and we're talking about you being overseas and you're in a different place, and the conversations that you and I have candidly had before, to speak on how mental health is a daily thing, and you don't have to be mentally disturbed, mentally troubled, you're no straitjacket. Everybody's mind has to be monitored every day. And it's what we put in and what we get out. And the past is a tough thing sometimes to shake. And when things go really well in our lives, sometimes, especially in areas where they haven't before, it's easy to fade back. So I just love to get your thoughts on that, because you and I have talked about mental health and the importance of having control over your mind and your mind not controlling you.
Yeah, like it's kind of crazy because I have every once in a while I'll have a moment with either my mom or one of my best friends or my little brother or my sisters on how important it is to like be comfortable what you're doing at all times, and kind of find it's like I said, like finding yourself, making sure that you're happy and in a good place, and that comes with the people around you, and it has so much effect. And like I said, like wow, Derrick Henry, it's crazy. He just won them the game, or almost. But having those type of people, those positive people around you, can really like it can strengthen you, and it can motivate you, and it can turn you into something that you've always wanted to become, and even more sometimes.
Yeah.
So I never once think, okay, like if I have a bad day or something like that, like, and I haven't had a moment like this in a while, and I'm grateful for it. And it's definitely because of my circle. Because I've always had, especially in the past year, I've always had somebody that's able to check in with me,
Yeah.
with life, basketball, and just either myself. Like, you have to be able to talk to your circle about these things, and if you're not able to do that, then they shouldn't be in your circle. That's just kind of my advice. Like, you gotta find those type of people who like honestly like truly care about you. Like if I wanted to quit basketball right now, I know everybody in my circle would still be happy for me at the end of the day
Yeah.
because they know that all right, even though he's stepping away from something that he loves, he was able to do it for so long and conquer what a lot of people weren't able to do, and also I was able to like overcome so much other stuff. So you it's hard, but at the same time, like you just have to find people who are truly meant for you. I feel like that's the big thing
Yeah.
in mental health because obviously it comes within you, but if you're not putting yourself around positive energy, it's gonna get harder and it's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I've realized that especially over the past year, like the amount of people like I've cut off, and not really so much cut off, but like I've just like kind of went away from, and I don't really talk negative, but I went away from people who downgrade other people or downgrade themselves. Um, can that because that can just lead you down a whole nother path. Um, and the person that I am and the energy that I give off, I can tell right away if that person is being positive or he's trying to overcome something or he's like in a negative stage. Like a lot of my old teammates at Binghamton, they're still like I love this team to death.
Yeah.
And it's definitely one of my top favorite teams. Um Off the court just because of how well our relationships are. And the young guys, like the freshmen that were last year, now our sophomores this year, they contact me all the time. And one of the guys sends me clips daily on practice film, and
Yeah.
I obviously give him feedback, and then I ask for his feedback, and then at the end of it, I ask like, okay, like we done talked basketball. Like, how are you doing personally? Like, how are you doing individually? And he tells me like, I feel better. I'm doing better, and that's the most important thing out of all of it. Like, I would rather see somebody happy um than anything. To be honest, like that's really the goal in all this, and I feel like that's where I'm at right now, and I feel like that's where God wants me to be at, especially with the youth, on how I should give back, and I feel like that's something that He's given me. He's given me the strength to put that positivity out when needed. So
You know, I always feel like our conversations come on time, and I blame God for that always. And people say, "Oh, you blame God," and I was like, "Yeah, it's a funny way of me joking around with God, but I do blame God completely for the timing of things." But you talked about you know you got to find your people, you got to find your pack, your squad, and those people that like are consistent. Because I find that it's funny because you get like people in your life, new people come into your life, and they kind of cause stress and cause some chaos and wreak some havoc and whatnot. And not every new person, but as an example. And I look around my life and I told him, I said, I laugh every day. Every day.
yeah,
I talk to my buddy Isaac pretty much every day. We laugh every day. My buddy Ross is always sending me messages. Could be the middle of the night, just like, "Hey, did you see?" Like he sending me this sports thing and this way and this entertainment thing, and did you see that? And this movie's coming out. And he'll just shoot me a message, and he's got a nickname that he's always called me, and only he knows that nickname, and I know his nickname. And so like he'll shoot me that and I'm just like, that's my guy. And I talk to my parents pretty much every day. And to me, it's not a like, oh my gosh, like I need you, I can't function. It's a, I love you dearly. And like, I'm just happy that my phone rings and I see dad, or my phone rings and it says my mom. And when you look at your people and you look at like I'm a single man, right? So if I'm going to bring a woman into my life, is she fitting in all, like, is she chaotic in this life, or is she coming in and I'm laughing with her and I'm joking with her and I'm getting to know her? Because when I look at all the people that are like my friends and whatnot, they've become family. Like if you looked at my family today and you said, all right, who's your family? Give me blood. I would say my family on the real is more not blood than it is blood. Like I got blood, but these people that chose me and I chose them, and I tell people I have brothers, genuinely brother. Like when I meet somebody for the first time, I'm like, all right, let's get this out of the way first. I got a ton of brothers. Don't ask my mom, did she have all these kids? Like they're not her biological kids, but these are my brothers. If my mom gave me 7 brothers, they wouldn't be as close as these guys. And I value what I have. I'm an uncle. Despite not having any biological brothers and sisters, I have brothers and sisters that have made me an uncle. I am a godfather. And I genuinely, Cy, when I look at life and I look at what I have, my circle is tight. My circle is consistent. And when I think about Ross, I'm like, I could tell you the one argument Ross and I have had in 16 years. It made no sense to me. It came out of nowhere. I talked to him about it. We laughed about it. And then we had dinner together.
That's supposed to be.
Yeah. I mean, I look at my life with Isaac, and like if one of us is off or something like that, I'll be like, dude, you okay? You know, I'm like, if I show up and I was like late to something, I'll be like, you're quiet, man. Is that because I was late? Because I apologize. And he's like, nah, man, you're good. But like we talked back and forth, and my mom said something to me today, and I loved it. And some people are going to say, why did you love it? But I was doing something with my mom and my dad. And my mom and my dad aren't together, but when it comes to me, they come together. Mm-hmm. And this whole weekend that we had, we were, as we've always been, we are a family. And I said something to my mom. I said, Ma, I got caught up in a bad habit. Like I was kind of mentally in the past, and something really good is happening in my life, and I fought it. And my mom got up. I'm 38 years old. She got up. She got right in my face, and she said, stop acting like a child. And it hit me right in my chest. But she was like, you know what you're doing. Don't act like a spoiled brat. Don't act like a child. And I was like, noted, Ma. But it's like, your people are your people. And when you find your people and they bring you peace, when you're in chaos, they try to bring you peace. When you're at peace, they don't bring you chaos. Anybody that comes into that circle or tries to come into that circle that is chaotic, you realize that not only are you kicking them out, but the people that love you that just dearly, they're going, yo, we don't need this storm, bro. You don't need that storm. And I think it's so cool that we're talking about our people, because I would ride with mine anywhere. Mm-hmm. And just, I mean, your thoughts on that, or, you know, to kind of riff off of that for a second, the fact that, like, once you find peace in your life, you will do everything to protect it.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Man, like my coach last year, and it's funny because we would laugh at him when he said this, but he will always say, and shout out to Coach Marlin, he will always say, get you some real ones. He would say, get you some real ones, or surround yourself around some real ones.
Yeah.
And we would laugh, but I will always take that message and I will go back to my room, my apartment, and it will repeat in my head like what does he actually mean? Like
Yeah.
get you some real ones, like surround yourself around some real ones. And now like to this day, like I know exactly what he means. So so shout out to Coach Marlon because that message is still sticking with me to this day. And without my real ones, I wouldn't. I'm not able to uh, come back to the stage that I'm in. I'm not able to be this positive. I'm not able to be um, Symir Torrence. So I appreciate my real ones every day. And I talk to like you said, like you talk to them like, and it's crazy because I can go a couple days or I can even go like me and my best friend Kahari, um, and Damar and Trey, we've been best friends since middle school. Um, and my first year in college, obviously it was the first like new beginning, like real new beginning because I went to prep school, but that was like it was a real new beginning, but it really wasn't because it was still prep. Like I was living on my own, but I wasn't. But like your first year of college, you're actually like on your own, especially like when you're away from home and family. Like you're really on your own.
Yeah.
And my first year, I didn't do so well with communicating with not only my family but my closest friends. But I never lost like that relationship piece with my closest friends, and
Yeah.
we always repost or we always talk about like we can go like such and such days or such and such weeks or even a month, or maybe even a year, but I know it'll never be a year. But the amount of times that we go without speaking to each other, it would never not be like the same once we do speak to each other. Like the
Yeah.
relationship is still always gonna be there. Like it's not gonna be like, oh, he didn't talk to me, like um he's not cool with me anymore. It's never that. It's like it's always business. It's always all right. He must be really taking care of business. Like,
Yeah.
and especially now because my boys know like I'm 7 hours ahead, and I always joke about like, yo, I'm in the future. Like, yo, stop calling me. Like, like if you call me, like you must be really wanting to know what's in the future. So,
I like that.
uh, so
I like
I'm
that.
7 hours ahead, but I still make time for my boys and obviously my family on on communication times and call times. But at the end of the day, they know like yo, he like let him take care of business, and he's gonna contact us back. Like
Yeah.
I never go, I never go like if somebody contacts me, even a person that's not in my circle, if somebody contacts me, I'm gonna eventually get back to them, and
Yeah.
it's not gonna be more than a day that I won't get back to them. Like I'm gonna eventually get back to them. It's just obviously I'm doing something at the moment. Can you be patient enough to let me do what I gotta do and then get back to you, and then I'll tell you what's going on. Like it's all about those who are patient, and that's really the key. If you have patient ones around you, that's really gonna make a difference as well because everybody obviously wants something in life,
Yeah.
uh, and obviously we all are on God's timing,
Yeah.
but what you really know who's on God's timing by their patient level.
Yeah.
How patient
Yeah.
are they willing to be to get what they want? And that's the tricky thing. And then I've been patient like these past, I want to say 4 years to get where I'm at. Like I didn't play a lot at Marquette. I didn't play a lot at Syracuse. I got to play a ton at Binghamton, and now I'm here. So the patience that I've had obviously paid off. Um, And yeah, like we just have to have patient level. Like if we really want something, um, and we're really looking forward to something, our goals are not gonna happen in the blink of an eye. We know like the work has to continuously be consistent. Um, and then we obviously do it over and over and over, and then time will tell. Time will definitely tell, and that comes with patience.
Yeah, man. On the real, I have tried to rush God my whole life.
Yeah.
And, I have always been like, now come on, like, let's do it. Let's go. Like, let's do it right now. And I look at it right now and I'm like, man, you couldn't have handled that if you didn't get hit with this. Like God needed to hit you with all these waves so that when the right one came in, you could surf on it.
Yep, I like that.
And like, when you really get to know God, like I get emotional. Like you get teary-eyed thinking to yourself, like, man, like he loves me so much that he made me fight. Like he loves me. That's why I had adversity. And people are like, are you saying you want pain? And it's like, no. But I say to people all the time, I said, I still remember to this day when I was laying in bed one night and I was like, man, I got like my legs started hurting. I was like, why am I hurting so much? And my body felt so weird. It was growing pains. My body was literally growing at night and it was hurting. And I think about life and how they call it growing pains. And I'm like, think about it. In order for your body to physically grow, it has to hurt. Mm-hmm. In order for you to physically grow, you have to hurt. And adversity is the maker. If God is the artist, then adversity is the clay. And that is shaping who we are and why we are and what we stand for. And when you really know who you are, you be open-minded and you hear what people have to say, but they always say bend but don't break. And I can listen to people. We're in an election year right now, and I got people over here and I got people over here. And I listen to these people over here and they're passionate, and I'm like, okay, I can understand that. And I listen to people over here and they're passionate and I can understand that. But the thing that keeps me at my core is God. It's this, when it comes to me making a decision on anything in life, it comes down to, and I say this, and I'm making myself live it because I haven't. Can you say, like, what if somebody thought about this? What if you and I thought about this? Everybody watching and listening thought about it this way. Can you say what you're about to say to somebody else holding God's hand? Could you grasp God's hand and call somebody a name? Could you grasp God's hand and be racist? Could you grasp God's hand and be hateful? Could you grasp God's hand and spit on somebody? Could you grasp God's hand and wish bad on somebody? Can you sin while holding his hand? And if you think about your life where you're about to do something and you don't know if it's wrong or you know that it's wrong, and you're about to say it or you're about to do it, if right before that happens, you reached out and grabbed onto God's hand, man, I think most of us would stop. And that's been something I've been calling myself to do, is saying, would God want you to worry? Does God say at any point in the Bible, worry, be chaotic, stress out, drive yourself nuts, let people bother you, let opinions of others drag you down, believe what everyone is saying about you? Live your life in a place where you're at the mercy of other people's expectations, not mine of you. Where in the Bible does God say, I want you to live in the past. I want you to fret about things. I want you to drive yourself crazy. I want your mind to outseat your heart. In what place does God ever tell you to listen to anybody but him and to do anything but be positive and to love? At what point does God say, I am issuing chaos? And that stuff just hits me. It hits me a different type of way, knowing that I've let myself be chaotic, knowing that if I had grabbed his hand before I said it or did it, I wouldn't have done it. I would have looked at that person and said, you know what? You got me really upset. You're yelling at me, calling me names. God, I'm going to grab your hand. Okay, we don't call people names even when they're doing it to us. All right, cool. And I'm going to step myself out the building. And I really I feel like adversity and pain and all this stuff, dude, like, it makes us who we are. And when you get there and you get it, like, it's just different, man. We smile different. Like, we feel different.
Yeah, we do.
We cry. We're driving in the car, we got tears in our eyes. Not because we're sad, but we're happy that God made it hard. Because a coach doesn't give tough love and push somebody that there's nothing left in to get. Mm-hmm. So as long as God is going, hey, be ready. Hey, man, I'm going to push you. Come on now. If God is pushing me all the way up to the day that I die and I get to, God willing, go back to heaven, then that means that he still sees potential in me. So maybe we should start looking at life as when the adversity comes, it's God saying, there's more potential with you, and I'm not done with you yet. Thoughts?
No, I mean, that was some powerful speaking right there, to be honest. And I was listening to every single word that you said. That was good. I needed that too. But yeah, you were spot on.
I mean, I got to hit you with this. We talked about having family that's out of our blood.
Mm-hmm.
And you talked about your people, and I talked about my people and the connection that we have with these people. And, you know, for me personally, I told you why I got into what I do. I told you why I do what I do. You've seen it. You've witnessed it. I've seen you. You've seen me. You know, we've been in the locker room talking with each other after a win, after a loss, when you have 0 points and played a couple minutes, or you had a huge game and you're doing, you know, this, that, and everything. So, to me, I felt like we had built a bond, and I try to build a bond with everybody I interact with, because to me it's about the relationships. Whether I talk to you I want to talk to you one time, and I want that to be memorable for the both of us in a positive way. Because there's no bridge I go down that I don't want to be able to go down again. No. But when I reached out to you, when you left Syracuse, you went to Binghamton, I felt a different type of love and like appreciation. And between the two of us, like a different type of trust. And then we did the show at the Syracuse Academy of Sciences at your home with the Adams. And I felt a different type of love and appreciation. And I just felt like I'm seeing Cy. Like, I'm seeing, this is who he is. Like, this is what he's about. This is who he is. I'm seeing, like, the kid in him, in the smile that he has. I'm seeing on his face, little Cy. And so I know that you have your squad and I have my squad. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, I think we're a part of each other's squad at this point.
No, for sure. Definitely for sure. Yeah, the continuous moments that we have had over the few years. And I don't just keep in contact with just anybody now. So it's definitely been a blessing, because every time we do a show, I feel like we've learned something from one another, and we kind of get closer, obviously, to one another, but also closer to God, because we always talk about our faith in him. Um,
Yeah.
but we also get an opportunity to share these moments um and what it takes really to get here. So truly thankful, to be honest, because if the world was like, and I don't like giving myself credit, but if the world was like more like, if more people were like you, we wouldn't be there wouldn't be like we talked about in the beginning of this show, like there wouldn't be missiles flying in different countries. There wouldn't be just like disagreements with just the little things that we have in the world right now. Like it just wouldn't be like that. And it's obviously steps, and we're steps away from where we want to be. But as long as we have each other, as long as we're speaking this positivity out in the air into our people, into people watching, this is this is uh this is the step that God wants us to take. So
Well, and
it's been really good.
I'm going to put it back to you, and I appreciate your words, and I take them to heart. And, you know, you being the person that you are, and I can tell, like you said, you don't just keep in touch with anybody. I can tell that. I can tell that you pay attention. And I remember being in the locker room one time, and I talked to you, and I was like, this man is really listening and really paying attention to the people that are interviewing him. And he's really just like seeing through all of your layers pretty easily. And he's figuring out every person that's walking into this room. And if you think he's not, you're crazy.
Yeah, if it's like, I want to say like, and no, it was exactly right after my season at Syracuse, my senior season. Um, Everybody was trying to figure out what I was trying to do or what I was gonna do next. I was still trying to figure that out as well.
Yeah.
But the the thing that kept getting asked, or not only that, the thing that was kept getting asked, but the questions that were getting asked to me were not for me. They were for someone else, but they wanted me to talk bad about that person. And I'm not that type of person.
Yeah.
So once and I noticed it quick, like, and obviously like we're past like a lot of people, and it's kind of crazy because Coach Boeheim is like he's not the person, and it's and people don't understand how hard it is to be a college coach, especially a Hall of Famer at that.
Yeah.
How seriously hard it is to be like him in that sense. And the one thing about Coach Beheim that truly like stands out and that will always like stick with me, and the reason why I will always have his back is his consistency of him being himself. He was never once like trying to be another coach. He was never once trying to impress somebody. He was never once trying to uh just like kind of put somebody down. Like he was always his true self.
Yeah.
Whether that was in a press conference, whether that was off the court of him coaching, whether that was him coaching, whether that's him right now in his retirement, he's always been his true self, and that's what I really like you know what I'm trying to say. That's what I really fell in love with. Like I love people who are themselves,
Yeah.
who don't have to try to fake to be something else that they're not. And the consistency that he had, that's the reason why he's a like in my eyes, that's the reason why he's a Hall of Famer. He stuck to what he knew.
Yeah.
He was consistent and really good at what he did.
Yeah.
and people still bashed him on it.
Yeah.
People loved the 2-3 uh the 2-3 version of him when it was all good and gloomy and winning. And then once it kind of didn't work a few times, they were like, "Oh, this is whack. We should get a new coach." They flipped the switch real quick, and it's crazy because if people say Syracuse, he's one of the names that pop up first.
Yeah.
And if we can't give him the flowers and respect that he deserves, it just automatically tells me what type of person you are, because
Yeah.
he's built the foundation of the Big S for Syracuse. And for somebody to ask me a question about him after his last season and trying to get me to like talk bad about him, it just doesn't make sense. Because why would you want wouldn't you want the best out of somebody, like regardless of the situation? Wouldn't you want to know the best? Like why did he become the best? What made him make the choices that he made? Stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
why not ask those type of questions? Why ask questions on like are you do you feel some type of way that he didn't play you these past 2 seasons? Like no, no, I do not feel no type of way. He gave me the opportunity to put on a jersey that I've been wishing to play for since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
That's more than anything he could have gave me. Like he honestly couldn't have gave me a scholarship. Like just things like that. I don't get it sometimes. Like I get like we have to have I get reporters have to have something to talk about, but why not put more good information out in the world than bad? Like obviously like we're gonna find some bad out, like even with like the whole uh Sean Diddy situation, like why are we just now finding out about this stuff? Like stuff like that. Why is that just now occurring?
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And all the good that he's done just kind of washed away. Even though like obviously the stuff that he's probably done is bad, but like why are we just now finding out about this stuff? It just it interests me. So to go back to the whole Boeheim situation, it's just like just give him his flowers.
Yeah.
Don't try to find something that isn't what it is. Um, and I forgot what the question was, but um, that's the adversity that we talked about. Like if if I didn't have those moments, those 2 years with Coach Boeheim, I probably would not be in Finland right now. I don't know where I would be, because the amount of wisdom, the amount of the amount of just the ability to just be around a human that has been around so many sources like that is just incredible. Like I'm so blessed to be like a part of that family, and I know that family loves me,
Yeah.
and um and I love that family to death as well. Like they're part of my circle as well. Um and I talk to Buddy and Jimmy every other week, and that's just a family that like just wants nothing but the best out of somebody. And
Yeah.
that's all Coach Beheim wanted for me. Like he didn't it wasn't him not liking me that he didn't play me. It was just like, hey, this is what I'm going with, and this is what I'm sticking with. And I would rather that than for him to be like, yeah, like I'm gonna need you next game, and then for him to not to play me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No, and I appreciate that because it's weird for me. You know, I'm born and raised in Syracuse. I mean, you're here, I'm here, we were raised here. And I'm thrown by the fact that, like, in most cases, one person is why people see me wearing a t-shirt and they go, oh, Cuse is in the house. Immediately. When I worked at Disney, it was pretty much daily that people saw my name tag, they had my first name, and had Daniel, Syracuse, New York. And so many people would start talking to me about the team, talking to me about football, talking to me about basketball, you know, talking about this, their favorite memory. Oh my gosh, I didn't know you're from here. Oh, da-da-da, naming places to eat and whatnot. And it's Boeheim. And, you know, I've said before, I was like, do I agree with every decision he's made? No. Would he agree with every decision? I have thoughts on, okay, maybe in this situation, try this, but it's constructive. You know what I said to people? I said, when I walk into a locker room, like when I go into the Syracuse locker room and the team loses, they know they lost. They know it sucks. I'm not going to ask them how it feels because that's a stupid question. And I would not want someone to come up to me and go, hey, you see that knife inside of your stomach? Do you mind if I twist it for the next 37 minutes? So the way I always looked at it was walk into that room, tell a story where you can look that person in the eye after you write it. Good, bad, or indifferent, win or lose. Talk about them, talk to them, and write about them in a way where you're telling the truth to the world and you're respecting the people. And I said to people, why is it such a difficult art to write a constructively criticizing story of saying this is where the team's at, but not writing it in any type of personal attack and any type of hit and negativity, and writing it in such a way? I remember Frank Howard. I remember everything people were saying about Frank Howard and dogging Frank Howard and all this negativity about Frank Howard. And I think sometimes he would, like, you know, just kind of come be in the locker room and then he would leave. And I remember with all this drama and BS going around Frank, he saw me and he gave me a hug. And I said to myself, if this man is hugging me at a time where he's getting criticized, at a time where I'm having to write articles about my hometown struggling in basketball right now, then he is seeing that I am telling a story without disrespecting him or anybody else. And I was always that way. And I'm always going to be that way because to most media people, and you said, why does this happen? To most media people, it is about a story. Fabricated or real, it is about the story. Me, it's about the relationships.
Yeah.
It's about this. And people say, well, you don't have as many clicks as this. You don't have as many followers as that. Yeah, but when I'm done with my life, if those people are still alive, they might come talk at my funeral. They ain't coming to talk at the funeral of that paper and this new and this and this, that. But it's like, I want to leave this earth better than how I found it. God does not care how many clicks I have, followers I have, and how much money I make. The currency that you have when you die is your soul. Mm-hmm. God takes that soul, puts it in, downloads it, puts it up on the screen, and here's everything you've ever done and said. And the currency that you have to get into heaven is how you treat other people, how you've treated yourself. It is what your soul looks like. God gave it to you pure. Did you bring it back just black and bloody and just gross and it's got moss on it? I mean, what does your soul look like when you're done? And to me, it was never about, because I told you, I said, I didn't like that you didn't play. You're a true point guard to me. I thought they brought you in to do these things, and I would defend you. I would defend you if people yelled at me. I would defend you if people thought I was crazy. I would defend you if people gave me crap, because I didn't care. You're not going to change my belief in this human being and what he's capable of. And I said it, and I said it, and I said it, and I said it. And then when Buddy had to sit out, and it was 2 games as Cy at point and Joe Girard at shooting guard, those were the best 2 games the whole season that Syracuse played. And I looked around the room, and there's a whole bunch of crickets and nobody looking at me in the face. Because nobody wanted to say, oh, yeah, Dan, you said that for the last 30-some-odd games. But I said, I'm not saying it to say it. I'm not saying it to boost Cy's ego. Cy, to me, was brought in to be a point guard. We haven't had a true one in a long time. I think he can handle it. So, was I frustrated? Yeah. Did I think you were frustrated? I was like, maybe. You know, I mean, if I were him, I would be.
I was frustrated. The only reason why I was frustrated, I wasn't frustrated about the decision because at least he told me. Like, okay, like he was like I said, like he was real with me before the game, he was real with me ahead of time and such and such. Now the thing that I was frustrated was we were losing.
Yeah.
Now I come from a household where we, like I said, like my brother said, don't be a loser.
Yeah.
In any case, in any scenario whatsoever, I do not like losing. I don't like being involved in losing. I don't even like the smell of it. Like I just like I don't know who likes losing. That was the only thing that I might have been I was definitely frustrated with. Just the inconsistency that we had that year. And even the year after that, even though we had some success in both of those years, but it just wasn't consistent. So that's the only thing that I was frustrated with.
Yeah. You know, and I feel that. And to me, like, I was there when Boeheim got his 1,000th win. And then the NCAA.
First one or the second one?
Yeah, exactly. And so I said that, and I said to, I love that you brought that up, because I literally said to people, he's going to be the only coach in the history of anything that will get 1,000 wins twice.
Mm-hmm.
And when he got it, I wrote an article that said you can't erase history. And I called it 1,000. And I'm going to continue to call it whatever it is, plus those 101 games that they took away. And, I mean, I remember Trish came on the show, and Trish said to me, he goes, you know, I had the most career starts, but it was during that time that they took those games away. So does that mean I lose my record? I said, no, man. I said, I don't care what the NCAA does. I'm going to keep your record. So from me, you got it because you played the games. And you can't erase history. And Bay, listen, Jim, he told you what he thought. He told you what he felt. If he didn't like something, if he didn't like how somebody handled something, he was real about it. But do people know the behind-the-scenes stuff that I know? Do they know that this man was told he was going to be interviewed about this, and then they turned the camera on, and they went to this other thing that they promised they weren't going to talk about, and now he's on camera? And so you hear him after the fact maybe not be so, like, fuzzy with this person, and you're like, wow, Jim's being a real rude person to that guy. That guy lied to his face, put him in a horrible situation, and tried to get him to talk badly about his people, just like they tried to get you to talk badly about Jim.
It brings me to, and I saw this on TikTok, or one of the social medias, and even with the world today and how social media has been, it's not all bad because there's information out there that you can receive, that you can kind of take in and kind of get a vision of. And the vision that I got of this video, it was of Gilbert Arenas, and he has a lot of podcasts and he has a lot of views on stuff, and he kind of visualized this scenario, and it makes perfect sense. It was like, and he put it in a basketball term. He was like, you're on a plane, the pilots are the basketball players,
Mm-hmm.
as well as the coaches, and then you have the people that what are they called? The people that
The
are
flight
on the
attendants?
plane that help
The flight attendants?
the attendants,
Yeah.
and you have the I'm blind right now. I'm blank right now. You have the people that come on the plane.
Yeah. So you got the pilots, you got the flight attendants, and you have the passengers.
The passengers. Got you. So the passengers and the flight attendants are seeing the same thing.
Mhm.
The pilot is running the show. No one else can see what the pilots are doing because there's a door. Just like the players have, they have the door behind the scenes. No one sees what they are doing behind the scenes. No one sees what they're doing in practice all the time. There may be cameras, but they're not getting everything. No one sees what they're talking about in film. No one is always watching over them when coach is in the huddle. No one sees it.
Yeah.
Everyone sees what they have on their rear side. That's the fans. Everyone has their own opinion.
Yeah.
Where the pilots were controlling the show. So for somebody to have an opinion on how to fly a plane and they're not the ones flying the plane, it just doesn't make sense. Because you're not the ones flying the plane. You see the same view that we see, but you're not in control of the plane because you're just not the pilot.
Yeah.
So why would the pilot take? It's not even take information. It's just why would he get stuck on the information that the passengers are giving them? Like his job is to get off safely and get down safely, and then you hear the cheers, and then that's the job.
Yeah.
The passenger's job is just to sit calmly, take some pictures of the view.
Yeah.
Just kind of just
Sit and watch.
Sit and watch.
Mm-hmm.
But we have so much of the criticize on how to play the basketball game, on what to do. Like, I don't think the thing that I find funny and that I know that fans don't get is that there are specific plays ran for specific people that no one knows, obviously, until we run it. There's practices that no one's obviously at. So you don't know the scenario, you don't know what's going on. You're just kind of blinded by what you see on the game. So you can't really take that in consideration and then go on social media and say, "Oh, well, you should have did this, you should have that," but you didn't watch film on the other team. You didn't run these sets in practice and know that they work.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff that the athletes go through to prepare for the game, the fans don't know. They don't know. They don't have a clue.
Yeah.
What's going on? They don't have one clue, and it's absolutely it's just funny to me. So that's why when I eventually got older in college, I just knew not to pay it any mind because they're just fans at the end of the day. Like, they're gonna make comments, but you can't let that make you lose focus because they're in the fan sections for a reason.
Yeah.
They're there to watch you play and you perform. You just gotta go out there and do what you gotta do. So.
Yeah, and I like that. And I'm gonna go one step further. I've been on a lot of planes. I travel a lot. I'm going to be traveling a lot now for basketball season and getting ready for the ACC tip-off and being in Charlotte now with 18 schools in the ACC, if you could believe it, and which is insane because Stanford and SMU and Cal are in now. I'll go one step further of this analogy. All the planes that I've been on, I hear passengers, what's he doing up there? Can he just stop hitting all these bumps? Can he stop doing this? Can he stop doing that? But wait a minute. But we don't even know what they look like. We don't
know what they see.
Right.
We have no idea what they're looking at in front of us.
Right.
We are only seeing what's on the right and left.
And what do we do? They complain. They could do it better. They can fly it better. But they eventually do what?
They clap at the end.
They clap at the end. And they trust. They trust that pilot that they cannot see. They trust that pilot that they cannot see to take off safely, get through the air, and land safely on time, if not earlier. So in this analogy, I would tell the passengers, aka the fans, not only can you not see what they see, not only do you not do what they do, but you get on a plane and put your life on the line for a total stranger that you don't even know what they look like most of the time. You trust a total stranger with your life. So trust a coach with a 2-hour game.
Yes, it's sure. It's and I forgot to put this in there too because I told this in his face. My dad is probably gonna listen to this. He's probably gonna laugh because I just told him this. I said there's a difference between, and I love watching film. I love watching feedback. I love it. But there's a total difference of watching it and being in the action. When you're on that floor, there's some things that you may say on the film that you may do, that you may need to do, but sometimes in the game, it's not what you think it might be. Like, first scenario, like I might come off a ball screen, they might double. Okay, somebody might say, okay, you should have hit the short roll quicker, but little do they know there's a 7'3" big that's hedging off of the screen that I just came off of with a 7'7" wingspan. So it's not easy to just say, okay, I could have just made that pass. Maybe I didn't have the angle to make that pass. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you don't know like, we don't, sometimes we get so much caught up in seeing, like, we all have different views, but are we actually in the action to make those arguments? Like, my dad said, okay, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Well, Dad, like, in the game, he's playing me this. Like, I can only, like, tell him so much because it's so different while you're in the game. Like, okay, he's playing me this way, he's playing me that way, but do you know, like, okay, like, he's, like, not criticizing myself or not saying that this has happened, but, like, I study the game to, like, a T, and I try to know, especially who's on the floor on my team, who's on the floor for the opponent's team, who's a good defender, who's not. Is my shooter on? As a point guard, like, you have to know all these things, and I don't think a lot of people know that. Like, this is just the things that I go through on a daily. Like, and my coach consistently asks for me to this day, like right now, on this Bisons team. Like, you have to get everybody involved as well as yourself, but you have to read the game as it's going on. And I don't think people know how hard that really is. Like, throughout the game, okay, you have a game plan. The game plan might not work, so you might have to go off of your instincts, your reads, and you also have to pick up on things very quickly as a point guard. Okay, your big is not finishing around the rim. How can you get him a better angle to get him more involved in the game? Just little things like that. Okay, my shooter is being denied. How do I get him open for a shot? Or, okay, they're very bad ball screen the opponents are a very bad ball screen. They're in a very they do very bad ball screen coverages. How can I get myself involved by doing? It's just little things like that. I don't think a lot of people understand that, especially from my position
Yeah.
that I have to go through. That I have to like. It's just like it's really like playing chess, but you make a lot of decisions a lot faster, um, and you have to read the game at a certain pace better than everyone on the floor and just as good as a coach.
Yeah.
So that's why people say being a point guard might, well, it's not might, it is one of, it's probably the one hardest position you have to play playing basketball because there's so many reads
Yeah.
that you have to make in the game. There's so many things that you have to do. There's so many assignments that you have to figure out. Like as a point guard, as no one wants to play with a well they say they do now, but until they do, no one wants to play with a scoring point guard who like just scores.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like you want to, like everybody wants to get the ball, everybody wants to win. So you have to find different ways on how to critique that. And I give props to scoring point guards because the ones that can score and that are point guards
Yeah.
probably have it the worst because now their role has to change a little bit and now they're asked to do
Yeah.
the thing that they're really not good at, which is okay, can you pass the ball a little bit more? Can you get people involved? But that's not what they're really good at, so why would you tell them to do it, if that makes sense?
No, it does. And you said, I mean, it arguably is the toughest job. It's like a coach on the floor, and it is. I mean, what do they call a point guard? A floor general. So, I mean, it literally is that. And you have to see all those things quickly. I mean, and I grew up playing the game of basketball, and you have to think about, like, okay, like if I pass the ball over here, this kid's going to shoot. He's not going to watch for anything to develop. He's just going to take the shot. And yeah, sometimes he makes them, and other times it just causes a lot of frenzy. And if he's not on tonight, then where am I going to be? And if I pass the ball inside, I know that I want to feed my big man, but I know that my big man struggles with guys that are bigger than him. And we're in a game today where he's got a guy that's got some height on him, and whether he wants to admit it or not, when somebody's bigger than he is, he gets nervous and he doesn't take the shots that he normally takes and he doesn't do the things he normally does. So I need him to be physical with this guy, and I need him to treat him the way he would treat somebody that's smaller than him. Here's another kid, here's my small forward, and he doesn't know the plays. So I want to get him the ball, but he's running around and he's getting in front of people and he's getting in front of my lane, and I'm supposed to have a guy pick me and we're supposed to roll out and I'm supposed to look for this guy, and he's coming down the lane and being like another defender to me. So now I got to pay attention to that. I have to pay attention to the fact that when we're running this play, if we run it to the right, it seems to work, but when we run it to the left, it doesn't. But it seems like my big man is doing better on the left than the right tonight, so I want to run this play, but if I run it to this side, it's going to help him, but it may not help the rest of us. There's a lot of things that go into being a point guard, and it's crazy, but that's why I love it. And that's why I'm just like, dude, I'm so, like, I love basketball and I respect every position. I just like, man, floor general, when you dribble the ball down the floor and people are like, okay, they get over half court and now the play starts. Now, a great point guard is taking the inbounds pass, looking down the court and going, all right, I'm going to go here. If I can't go here, once I pass, I'm going to go over there. If I can't do that, then I'm going to move this. I'm going to come down with my left hand because I know the guy's going to try and cheat me this way, but I know that I'm better in my left hand than he thinks I am on film because I worked on a lot of things. So I'm going to come down left. I'm going to spy this guy moving, and as soon as I cross half court, I've already decided where my pass is going to go. I'm just waiting for it to develop. You don't wait till you get into that defense. You're way back there like, okay, this is what I'm about to do. This is how everything's going to happen. This is how I'm going to move. And what I love about point guards that are doing what their job is supposed to be, which is primarily to orchestrate, not to play every instrument, but to be the conductor. You can play in it like, okay, in your case, like, okay, Cy can play the violin. He can play an instrument. He's got these shots, right? This is the violin. This is what he's got in his repertoire. He doesn't play the trombone. He doesn't play the tuba. He doesn't play the drums, but he can play the violin. So I know he can play the violin, but he's my conductor first. Because if I don't have a conductor on the floor, there's a bunch of instruments just playing at the same time. Sounds awful. And people forget that if you don't have a good conductor, doesn't matter how good your coach is, if you have a score first guard at the point, you don't have anybody telling the orchestra how to play in unison. And that game might be won here and there by street ball, but you ain't going to win a championship.
For sure. And I give a lot of credit to Coach Boeheim, and I know a lot of people, a lot of fans have seen me get yelled at, and I have a lot of pictures in my phone of me getting yelled at by him. But the number one thing that he's gotten me better at, and the reason why I am who I am and why I became the top 5 assist guy in the nation last year was because he always told me, like, if I pass it and I'm not putting the person that I'm passing to in the position in the best position possible, it's my fault. So that's why he was always yelling at me, because once I passed it, and it was crazy because I would pass it to Jesse sometimes, and I would pass it early sometimes, and then he would get the ball, he would bobble it, and then they would call travel, or he would bobble it and it'd be a turnover. He would look at me because he'd be like, why would you pass it? You just put him in a bad position. Even though it might have been a good pass and he just bobbled it, it's still my fault. That's why the following year after that, when I went to Binghamton, I knew exactly, okay, this guy is best at cutting. Okay, I'm going to pass him here. This guy loves the corner 3. I know when I drive here, he's going to always be wanting the ball in this corner. Okay, I know this guy loves lob passes. I'm going to only lob it. I'm not going to bounce pass it. So the things that Coach Boeheim has taught me in those short amount of 2 years, I took on the responsibility with that at Binghamton, and it carried over just as well. And obviously the outcome was me being the top assist leader in the nation.
Do we have to text Jesse and say that his travels were your fault?
He might have to. He might laugh, actually. He just actually posted too, him on the Timberwolves, and I was actually glad to see him play. I got to see him play the other day too, so it was that's exciting.
Yeah.
Definitely
But
exciting.
All jokes aside, before I let you go, top 4. Can you hang with us for one more fast break so we can talk about you being the top in the nation? So we're going to take one final fast break here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora with Symir Torrence. We're going to speak on how he, in his words, rose to, now keep in mind, folks, there are over 350 Division I men's basketball programs. I think it's 363 or something now, but over 350 Division I men's basketball programs. And this gentleman that's picture in picture of me was one of the top assist leaders in the entire country. We're going to talk about it after this. Here is a message from Fire Pit Barbecue and Saloon, located on 264 New York Route 48 in Fulton, New York.
The aroma from the fire pit itself, you can smell it, and it just makes you want to come in and get the food. I feel like when you walk in the door, it's just very welcoming, from the employees to the atmosphere. We make it fresh every day, full of flavor, and you can get it plain and still has so much flavor, or you can choose from one of our many sauces, so you can get the same plate at the table, but each person can have a different flavor to it. When I first walked in, before the place was even open, I came in and talked to the manager, and she just made me feel like just feels really comfortable. It feels like a family. We work as a team. We work together. We do bands on the weekends, Friday, Saturday nights. We are doing trivia on Tuesday nights. Monday night, we're going to be doing some karaoke. So there's a lot of different things for kind of everybody. Once a month, Dan Tortora is going to be in here hosting his show with special guests from the sports community. Stop on down to Fire Pit Barbecue and Saloon. We are open 7 days a week, located at 264 New York Route 48 in Fulton. We also offer catering. Feel free to give us a call, 315-402-2004.
Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. You could find them every Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 5 on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, right off of Teal Ave. They have literally, if you've never collected cards before, you're going to be in this place where you're going to feel like you have everything that you need. It's like the crash course in it. Every step of the way. Here's the packs, here's the boxes, here's the singles, here's the graded cards. You have a favorite team. They have every MLB, NBA, and NFL team. Do you know how tedious of work that is to put together a box for every single fan of 92 teams? But they do that because they want to be the difference. They do that because they care. Because when you walk in, they want you to feel like it's personalized to you. That each guest matters. Not customer, each guest. There's a difference between calling someone a customer and a guest. Because a guest you welcome into your home. And when they welcome you in, everything from Disney Lorcana, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, as well as Magic the Gathering, to hockey, soccer, baseball, football, basketball. I have had such an amazing time working with Josh and Anthony and Alex and Joel and the entire team at GG Cards and Breaks. I go in there all the time, and they can vouch for me on that because I love to bring new cards home, trying to find places to put them all, but I love being a part of it. And Trade Night is a great place to buy, sell, and trade all those cards that you get at GG Cards and Breaks. If you open up packs and boxes, you might get something that you don't want, but maybe somebody else does. So you can come to Trade Night every single month. Sometimes it's at the Wildcat Sports Pub. Sometimes it's at the store at GG Cards and Breaks. So make sure you stay close to our social media to find out where it's going to be each month. It's going to be at the Wildcat here in October, on October 10th. So looking forward to seeing you there on Thursday, October 10th. And as always, I appreciate everything they do. 639 Delmar Place, Syracuse, New York. Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 6. And on Sundays from 10 to 5. With that being said, Cy and I, looking at this final few notes here. One of them being something that, as much as we've talked about so many things, him and I have never spoken about the fact that he ended his collegiate career as one of the best floor generals in the country this past basketball season. One of the best deliverers of the ball. That obviously all of those pictures on his phone of Boeheim yelling at him paid off. So, Cy, bring me into how you learned from Boeheim's teaching that you said before the break of you can't just pass the ball. You have to know your guys, and you have to set them up for the highest opportunity for success. You obviously took that to heart. You obviously learned, and you grew as a floor general. Constructive criticism helped you because you were open to getting better. Do you hear that, world? Do you hear that, countries? Do you hear that, Congress? Do you hear that, President? Supreme Court? Do you hear constructive criticism can make you better? And in the case of Symir Torrence, he became one of the best point guard generals when it came to assists in the entire nation. Symir, how did you do it? What was it like to live within it and to be consistent with it? And beyond all of that, congratulations that you ended your career being exactly who I thought you were and so much more. Somebody who knows what the heck they're doing when they pick up that stick that conductor has, they pick up that wand and they start moving it around and getting everybody to be on cue with what they're supposed to do. I am extremely proud of you as a friend, but I would love to hear the story that you have to share about going through a season where 360 plus schools have point guards, but Binghamton, you, one of the best in the nation.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that for sure. It definitely wasn't easy. And I feel like all throughout my life, when I started playing basketball, I've always loved to pass. There's never been a situation where I didn't like passing. I just loved the joy of giving somebody the ball and them being able to score the ball. Um, it just brought so much joy to me. Now from Syracuse, Coach Boeheim, and it's crazy because uh, one of the moments that I had with him in practice kind of went through my head while you were speaking, and he told like he was obviously yelling at me, but it wasn't really yelling. It was just like kind of coaching.
Yeah.
And that's mostly what it is. It's more coaching. It's not yelling. Um, but he told me he was like, "Hey, like you know how many point guards I've got to the league. You want to be a pro? Listen to me." That's how he said it.
Yeah.
And then I took that in. I was like, "Yes, coach." And I kind of looked away and I kind of laughed a little bit because it was kind of funny in the moment. Um, but yeah, and I take every little coaching aspect that he's given me and put it into my own game, and that kind of that translated into my last year at Binghamton. And what made it difficult because of and it's crazy how I was top three, I was top five, I was really top three. Um, should have been top one, but there's no regrets. I was playing. I don't think anybody knew this. I think half the people who are around Binghamton knew this. I was playing halfway through the season, so probably the whole conference play with a fractured heel. So I was playing on the fractured foot while also uh, uh, doing all these tremendous passes and keeping my stats up. So I was actually playing hurt. I wasn't playing to my full ability. So I had to become more creative and find more ways to be more efficient with my passes and be able to obviously take in what Coach Boeheim told me of uh, kind of giving the ball to the right teammate at the right time, at the right place.
Yeah.
And my last season at Binghamton, we actually were not the best shooting team in our conference. We weren't even um, like top 100 in shooting. I think we were almost dead last in shooting. We just didn't have a good shooting year. We had a couple shooters, um, but obviously the shots didn't go in. We can't kind of uh, tell if the shots are going to go in. So we were the number one, or not number one, but we were probably top 20 cutting team in the country, stat wise, and it made it seemed a lot harder than what it was, but me knowing my teammates and me knowing where my teammates were going to be at on the floor at all times, and like I said, like my passes were pretty crisp, and I had to um, find even more difficult ways to get them the ball with playing kind of on one foot.
Yeah.
So I had to be creative. Um, it just put me in a better position to be a better leader and a better point guard at the end of the day, and that's how that became to be. So uh, I was very like lucky to have the players that I've had because those passes that I threw my last season weren't easy to catch, and I've made a lot of tough and difficult passes through defenses. And that all became with the film that I've watched with my Binghamton coaches, and shout out to Coach Sanders. He told me like, hey, like, do you know what you are at um, worldwide in college with your assist? And at the time, I did not. I was kind of playing, and then we found out about my injury. Um, and then he told me like, hey, let's try to shoot for number one, and I was like, let's do it. So he kind of put me in the best situation possible, knowing my circumstances with my foot. So he kind of threw out different reads for me to make, and I made the best reads possible. He knew I was the best passer on the team, so he kind of put me in the best positions to make those passes, and he knew that I was a person that was going to get the ball to the right person at the right time and on time. So
How do you become one of the best distributors of the ball on one foot with a team that wasn't shooting well?
trust. We talk about having the right people around you. I had the right teammates, and it came with obviously preparation and patience. Um, Obviously, not every pass, not every uh, pass that I gave was an assist. Obviously, I had some games where I didn't have the the assist that I wanted to have, or the assist that I probably could have had. Um, but it all came down to trust. Me trusting my teammates that they were gonna be there. Me trusting my teammates that they're gonna catch the pass if I do it.
Yeah.
And just me being patient and uh, growing up, my dad always taught me to throw hard, fast passes. So um, all my passes was never really lazy. And if a defender really kind of could tell when I'm gonna pass, it was never like a steal. It was always like a deflection. So it was never really a turnover unless I threw it out of bounds, which was rare of happening because my turnover to assist ratio was really good. Um, so yeah, me being the player that I was once when I was a kid kind of grew into the player I am now with the passes that I throw. Um, I'm blessed to have my dad's hands with big hands. So I don't know if anybody notices when I dribble the ball, I palm the ball at times sometimes because I'm so anxious to pass the ball with the speed that I can pass the ball at, and a lot of coaches don't really like when players pass the ball with one hand, but I'm so good at it, so you kind of gotta live with the results sometimes, and it's just off of my instincts. I have good instincts on where my teammates are gonna be and how they're being defended, and obviously watching a lot of film is the big circumstance. Knowing
Yeah.
all right, this is gonna be open. This game, um, the back doors are gonna be there, so I gotta work on my bounce passes. So I will work on things right before the game when needed to. But I would be creative. I would throw like I would watch like the best passers of all times. Rajon Rondo, even Steph Curry and his behind the back passes. I would watch it on how he would get it off so fast and his techniques. Just all the little point guards that get in the lane and make those tough, difficult passes. Steve Nash is probably one of the best at creating a difficult pass and making it crisp. So just kind of studying the game and taking it under my own hands and just kind of taking little bits and pieces from different point guards over the years and putting it to my own game and obviously we saw a season of the outcome. We saw a couple of it. My the end of my junior year of me starting
Yeah.
against Duke and the game that I had 9 assists against Florida State. Those weren't too difficult of passes. Those were kind of just quick reads. It's crazy how I can kind of reminisce on 3 years ago of those games. But those were hard passes at all. Those were just quick weeds of okay, knowing if I drive to the paint this way, Jimmy Boehmeim's man might sag, so I have a wraparound pass that I have to make that he made at the top of the key. Joe gets his release off pretty quick, so you don't have to really get the ball to him pretty fast. Like he's gonna get it off regardless. So kind of knowing when to pass it to him was when his hands were ready. When he was coming off the ball screen. That's something that I read a lot. Um, with Buddy, there was times that his defender will only be locked in on him, so I would pass the ball while his defender was only locked in. So that means that his defender wouldn't be able to see if I was passing the ball or not. They were just so glued to him that they didn't know if the ball was coming. So Buddy would have his hands and feet. His feet were just as good as his shot, and that's what made his shooting so good. And shout out to GMAC with that. They worked on that pretty often. But just giving Buddy those passes at any given time, I know he was gonna set his feet, and I know that his defenders were more than likely not gonna watch the ball and just to stay on him. I know he were gonna just kind of catch the ball and get his hands and feet ready, and once it leaves Buddy hand, you already it's more than likely to go in. Jesse, with him, it was more of throw the ball where nobody else could get it but him. He's actually a pretty good catcher for his size. A lot of 7 foot guys can't catch bounce passes. He's probably one of the only footers that I've had on my team that can catch bounce passes. And he's a pretty good catcher. He's always had his hands ready at all time.
Yeah.
And yeah, those are just the little things that I try to read in my teammates, whether or not if their hands are ready or when their hands will be ready, and where do they like the ball to be once they catch it, because some people have different pockets that they want the ball at, and as shooters, I know that they have a pocket where they catch the ball and they can release it faster than when they catch it on the left side or the right side, like you were talking about with the plays. Like the big might be on uh on his best offensive game on the left side, but the team only knows the right side, so it's just like that for
Yeah.
shooters. If I pass the ball to Joe's right side, he might not be as better shooting on his right side than he is his left side. So just little things like that that I've read from my teammates for them to make the shot, because at the end of the day, like selfishly, I want the assist too, but I also want him to score and to be in the best position. So I had to make my passes a little bit crisp, make sure it had spin on it. Uh, I don't know if fans know this, but if I pass the ball and it has a good rotation on it and it has the what do we call it? We call it the laces. If the shooter catches it with the laces, it's more than likely gonna feel better in the hands without the laces. Um, Meaning the ball will rotate in a way where it's more normal of seeing rather than a difficult rotation. So just those little things that I've always try to critique in my game on how to become a better passer,
Yeah.
well as a better ball handler and obviously a better finisher. Shooting has become one of my uh, no, I wouldn't say it's not good, but it's not my best that what I can do when I'm dribbling, passing, and finishing at the rim. But my shooting over year has become a lot better by working with the shooters that have worked with over the years. I've been around probably the best shooters in the game, except for Steph Curry. I've been around Buddy. I've been around Joe. August Mahoney. He went to Yale. He's one of the best shooters. Danny Petcash. You can look up his stats at Binghamton. He was a good shooter. Marcus Howard. He was another great shooter. Greg Elliott. one of my best friends. He's a good shooter. So I've been around a lot of shooters, and I know certain techniques that I can work on in my shot or passing that'll make my game elevate to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, what you just said that stuck with me more than anything. Well, it all stuck with me, and I love the fact that you didn't just describe how you play the way you play. You described how you play to each of the strengths of all the guys, and then broke down Joe, and talked about Jesse and Buddy and so on and so forth. Is when you talk about passing with a rotation and a certain way of delivering the ball, can you let a ball go in the heat of the game and everything that's going on? Can you deliver a pass where you're controlling the rotation and how it's going to enter their hands? Like, have you figured out a way to deliver a pass in multiple situations where you're like essentially like a pitcher? Have you figured out, like, this is my slider, this is my curveball, this is my changeup? Like, can you say, all right, sending this to Joe Girard, it's going to come in this way? Like, are you that automatic?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And some guys are more better than others at the ball rotation. Like, some guys will fidget with the ball. Like, I'm more of a fidgeter. I don't like catching it without the laces. So
Okay.
if a person was to pass it with me, if they passed it with the laces, it would be easier for me to shoot and just put it up. If they don't pass it with me to the laces, I'm more than likely just not gonna shoot it because it doesn't feel right in my hands,
Yeah.
or I'm gonna make it spin to where I have the laces in my fingertips. My Coach Boeheim's gonna love that. He's been talking about my fingertips all the time. He wants the ball on my fingertips, but it's gonna feel weird. So for me to shoot it, I'm gonna switch the ball form for me to have it in the best rotation. And everybody wants to catch it on the laces, which makes it easier for you to get it off because it just feels better, especially when you're dribbling. So yeah, other guys are better than others. Joe and Buddy are probably Joe, Buddy, and Cole. I didn't even mention Cole. They're probably the best three shooters that can shoot with any rotation on the ball, just
Yeah.
because of how much of practice of shooting that they do. So they're more elite at it. And that's why it makes them a lot dangerous to defend, because they can catch the ball at any different angle and kind of adjust it and obviously shoot it to the best of their ability.
Do you have a favorite? I want to play rapid fire in a second, but do you have a favorite pass in your entire career?
There's a lot. I mean, I'm starting to use my left hand passes more than I've ever did. My underhand pass is pretty underrated. And I don't like throwing it, but I do at the same time, because I throw with so much speed.
Yeah.
That only a select few guys can catch it. And it's for my underhand passes are for difficult situations, such as me driving through the lane, and I'm kind of like shoveling it across the court. I actually have a clip of me doing it during preseason, and it was actually an impressive pass, but I didn't find it impressive because I've been doing it my whole life. But people were like, "What the hell?" So probably my underhand pass, just because how much speed I put on it, the timing, of me passing it when I'm passing it, and where it will end up at. I find it pretty easy to shovel it and into a shooter's pocket. So I feel like that's my favorite pass. My easy pass is probably my one hand over the head skip pass.
Yeah.
I feel like that's more of a pass that I'm more likely to make just because I've been making it a lot, and it's quite difficult, but it's easy for me because I have big hands. Um, so though definitely those two, and obviously a regular chest pass
Yeah.
with my speed on it is is pretty normal.
And when you're talking about, just so people know, when you're saying catching it with the laces, I'm catching it here instead of somebody sending it to me sideways.
Exactly.
So you catch the ball like this as a shooter, you're apt to rotate it and then try to put it up. So
Yeah.
when you catch it here and then it's already like, and
It's gonna feel a lot better. The road,
yeah,
like I don't know if like for me as a basketball junkie, when you watch the games, when you watch the NCAA tournament games, and you watch the replays, and it does the replays into the commercial, and you see the ball in the air, and you see the rotation,
yeah,
you're more likely to see the rotation of the ball going like yes that way, yes, and
as opposed to like
it's
this way.
normal, and I feel like that's the way it should rotate when you're shooting,
Yeah.
rather than the other way.
Yeah, you're not going to see it like this.
Yeah.
So let's play some rapid fire. Let's have some fun with this. I have so many places to bring this, and we're well past the 2 hours that we promised you for Wake Up Call. You ask the first question, Si. What do you got for me?
All right. These are always hard for me. What's we're coming to the end of the year. What's something that we have 2 months left. What's something that you want to get done before the year ends? What's something that you're proud of that happened this year? Those two.
Well, I appreciate them. And November 16th, here in my hometown and your hometown, I will be celebrating 21 years of being a broadcaster.
Damn.
Yeah.
21?
21. And
Shit.
21.
Almost my age.
And 21 is my favorite number. My birthday is October 21st. And so on November 16th, and I know you got your season going on, love to have you here, but on November 16th, maybe you could shoot us a video or something. I'm going to be at the Wildcat, and we're going to be celebrating 21 years of this journey. I've invited people throughout time and space, and like I said, I definitely want to have you there, and you're out in Finland, so maybe you can like send a little video we could put on the screen. But it's that's something I'm very proud of that we're about a month from. And also my company turned 12 years old, so my number 21 flipped the other way, 12. So on the 21 year anniversary, my company is 12 years old, Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. And I would say the thing that I want to achieve, I want to finish this year out as the strong, knowledgeable, wisdom-filled person that implements the knowledge and the wisdom that I learn into sectors of my life where it has been needed for a very long time, and that I show God that I have learned, I have grown, I've evolved, I can ad-lib, I can deliver on the promises that I've made to him and myself. And so I would say proud of what's to come and what we're doing. And I would say to finish out this year knowing exactly who I am, knowing that there's no one above me or below me, and to live in the truth that I am enough.
I like that.
My question...
November 16th. I'm not going to forget that. November 16th.
Yeah. I was looking at your schedule. I'm like, man, your guys are still going to be playing. So, I think.
Yeah, no. We're going to be playing for a while.
Yeah. So, but maybe we could do a little, you come up on video. Yeah, do a little video because we're going to have a big screen so people can send in messages. Maybe we can get a message from you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm going to save that date.
Okay.
But that's in a month. So yeah, for sure.
Yep, November 16th.
Oh yeah, because I think we got a 2-week break in November, but I'm more than likely not gonna be home.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll definitely save that date.
All right, yeah. November 16th. I appreciate it. My question back to you, Shai. I'm going to go to food. I know we get philosophical, and I will with my next one, but I'm going to go to food. I want to know if you could, I've never asked this question before, if you could make a combo, like you can mash up two foods that you love, and you could just make a food baby out of these two things, what would be your food mashup creation? And then secondly, what is the one food that you've tasted that you wish God would erase from history?
Ooh, that's tough. That second one's tough. The first one, if I had two foods to combine,
Yeah.
I really love goulash. And that's kind of like spaghetti kind of pasta, but goulash has this, and my great grandmother, she makes it to a T. I don't think anybody can make it as good as her.
Okay.
So I will probably say, and I will probably have the help of my great grandmother. My nana's her cooking, her goulash cooking, and so grandma's goulash cooking mixed with I want to say I feel like chili. Chili would mash with that.
Yeah. I can see that.
Goulash with chili.
All
I
right.
like that. And I'm thinking fall too. Like, all right, we're starting fall weather. Like, I feel like chili is a more like it's a more dish for fall. So
Yeah, I like that.
Goulash
My mom makes really good goulash, so I'm all with that.
yeah, I
So,
like that.
all right.
And a food that I wish that could not be made anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one. I'll probably have to say like what am I gonna say? Growing up, I never loved sushi,
Okay.
but I'm starting to like it like little by little, eating every day. But
Okay.
it's certain types of seafood. Um, so I'll probably just say, I hate the smell. I'll probably say fish.
Okay. All right. I can roll with that. I
But
can
it's crazy
understand.
because I love salmon,
Yeah.
but I don't like fish.
It's the one thing. So I love fish and I love making it and all that stuff. But the reason why I said I could roll with that is it's the one thing you don't want to smell and taste like its name. It's like the weirdest thing in the world. You don't want chicken to not smell like chicken and not taste like chicken. You don't want steak to not smell like steak and taste like steak. But you want fish to not smell like fish and not taste like fish, which is so weird, but it's true, is that, you know, like they would always say, like if you had a tuna fish sandwich, if your mom made it for you, like, oh, you're going to have tuna breath in school all day and this and that. But yeah, something about fish. I love fish though. I really do. So what's your final one for me? We'll get two apiece. So this is the second one, and then I'll have one. So what's your final one for me?
This is tough. These questions, I got these, cause I'm more. I like my questions to be meaningful.
I know you always ask
I don't,
very.
yeah, I don't want to just ask any question. Okay, I probably got. I think I got one. With man, I'll probably say like, okay, like in your opinion, what are some ways for me, in your opinion, that you can give me, and it can be anything on how, but I don't want you to just kind of pick anything. I want you to kind of pick something that no one has done. So try to think of something that I can do to give back to the community of Syracuse in a unique way.
So I would say, you know, I think obviously people do camps and there's a soup kitchen. There's different things in that respect. I think, and Eric Devendorf has given clothing. I think what idea I would give to you that I haven't seen or heard of would be if you and I worked on either creating building wise or utilizing and repurposing buildings to house the homeless people in Syracuse, to create an environment where they will safely live, have staff that will monitor them, so this will be their home, and so they will be not just coming here to sleep, but there will be activities there for them. There will be breakfast, lunch, and dinner meals there for them, all within this building that they live in, and so that they can make sure that they're eating in this place, doing activities in this place, so that they can monitor and prevent drug use, prevent bad habits, and prevent violence and different things that could happen. I would look at a housing experience that would create for them a living community that has professionals for mental health, doctors, people to talk, therapists to speak to on addiction and different things and family life, and that it wouldn't just be a meal that they come and get and then go back to their life and back to drugs and whatnot, but that it would be a community that was set up to educate them, feed them, house them, and help them to learn how to sustain a positive lifestyle so that they can go into society and contribute.
I like that.
That's what I would say. Because they say if, you know, you can give a man food and he can eat for a day, or you could teach him how to fish and they can eat for a lifetime. So I think that in order to truly affect homelessness and drug abuse and violence and unsafe streets, you don't help them for an hour. You don't help them with a meal. You create an environment that teaches them how to get out of the environment that they're in and to create a new environment for themselves. The only way that you can have consistent systemic change is to affect the thinking and the heart, and to teach people and give them the tools necessary to change their lives. If you hand something to them, they will eat for that moment. But if you teach them skills, then they will hopefully make decisions that are going to change their life and the life of other people. So I am all about creating opportunities to educate as opposed to just handing something out. My final question for you, Sai. If God was writing a song to describe Symir Torrence, what would be included in the lyrics that he sang to describe his son, Symir Torrence?
Okay. I would say building a path for others to see what they couldn't see.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Or building a path what others need to see.
And how do you do that? How do you in your life build a path to create the opportunities for people to see what they haven't seen, refuse to see, don't know that's there? How are you building a path to open the eyes to help others?
Well, for one, build a team. For two, we write notes. We write our confessions down, our thoughts. And for three, we share. I feel like those three things right there. Build a team, come up with a plan, come up with thoughts, write notes down, take little bits of information from everyone that you have involved yourself with, put it into a bowl, and share it.
I think, going off of what you said, if people were honest and they shared anonymous things that have happened in their lives and didn't name any names or anything, but just talked about situational things that have happened to them, experiences they've had, put them on a sheet of paper and put everything in a bowl, and then somebody in the room picks out that, picks from the bowl and reads at random an experience, and then they give advice, there's an anonymity to the person that put it in there, and that person that's giving advice doesn't know who they're speaking to necessarily, so there's no preconceived notions, There's no preconceived anything. Do I like this person? Do I not like this person? Did I talk to this person when we first walked into the room? So it's honest. It's an honest response going to someone that they don't know. And I think if there's anonymity in who's putting it in the bowl and anonymity in who's reading it and who's addressing it, and then other people can kind of weigh in, there's the opportunity to give really unfiltered advice and thought and discussion. And hopefully people would be open to hearing it and hearing what people had to say. But it would be advice that would come with no prejudice. And it could be an opportunity for the person reading it to learn, the person that wrote it to learn, and other people in the room that maybe were too afraid to write it to learn without anything attached to it. I think it would be pretty cool. I could see that.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you have the final word, Si. What's the last thing you want to say before we hop off for the show?
I would say don't be somebody. Don't be who somebody wants you to be. Be who you've always wanted to be since you were little. And then shout out to my folks.
Symir Torrence here on Wake Up Call. Si, as always, I am privileged to have you here, and I'm honored. I walked into those locker room moments at Syracuse hoping to build a relationship professionally, and now you're one of my people. So you're stuck with me, man. I don't know what to tell you.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. This is always a blessing. This is another step that we're taking for the next generation. And this is also therapy for both of us. Getting thoughts off our minds and sharing what could help another person. So this is really good. Continue to be yourself. Continue to do this, because you're not only making a difference for yourself, but you're also making a difference for other people that you may not even know. And I'm starting to notice that right away. I'm touching so many different little kids, and not even little kids. I'm touching different generations and helping them think bigger and in better ways, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
it does. Well, I don't know how to say goodbye, and I never do. Those of you that know me well know that when I'm on the phone, I always say, or in person, I always say, see you. I don't say goodbye. So, Si, I will see you, and I appreciate you as always.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you too. See you later.
Amen. Take care. Have a good night.
You too.
See you. That coming from Symir Torrence here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. You can tune in to Wake Up Call. We went well beyond today, but with all good reason as always. YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT. And on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. Make sure you check out Wake Up Call Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We appreciate you, and thank you for doing that. You can also find us on Amazon Music, Audible, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Big time thanks to our incredible partners that we have here in Central and Upstate New York and beyond. Of course, we have our Brooklyn Pickle down on 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina, right down the road from Pinehurst Golf Courses, which many of you know around this country is one of the best golf courses to go to, and around the world when it comes to Pinehurst. So make sure that when you're in the neighborhood down in Southern Pines, that you head over to Brooklyn Pickle. Let them know that DT sent you. You can say Wake Up Call. You can say DT. Just let them know, because we've been spoiled in Central and Upstate New York with the Brooklyn Pickle for many years. And now that it's down in North Carolina, I'm very excited that more people get to know just how great it is to have a place that is consistently awesome with just great food and brings you back to like making sandwiches at home. And they put so much in their sandwiches that if you get a whole, it's literally 2 sandwiches. So many different flavors, so many different opportunities and choices. There's nothing like going to Brooklyn Pickle, and I suggest you go there today. I absolutely love being there. So thanks to Craig Kowadla, as well as to Brian Bruno, who have believed in me and my message and given me the opportunity to expand that to North Carolina, a place where I have covered teams for over a decade. So thank you for that. Here in Central and Upstate New York, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Servomation, redefining, reinvigorating, just reimagining what it is to have vending anywhere. Schools, churches, apartment complexes, businesses, road stops. When it comes to vending, the options, the technology, the healthier choices, the quality of food, go to servomation.com. Find out what I'm talking about. And make sure that wherever you're going to school or working or living, ask them if they're looking for some vending to get over to Servomation and make a phone call to Brian Bruno and the team. Mother's Cupboard, Canine Camp, Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, or just known as simply Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world, GG Cards and Breaks, Pizza Man, Great Lakes Honda City, Fire Pit Barbecue and Saloon, our newest partner, Avicoli's, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Brian's Landing, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It's Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Dolphins Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. During Dolphin Time, you will find your Dolphins there on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. weekly. In our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership, go to youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the Lemoyne playlist. You can also find them on the homepage of WakeUpCallDT.com and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com. And as always, fins up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bobcats every single month in what we call the Bobcat Buzz, telling the stories of men's and women's soccer, men's and women's basketball, baseball, and esports. You will find the Bobcats by going to youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the BSE Syracuse playlist. You also find the Bobcats by going to WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to Syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You'll find the Bearcats during Bearcat Time every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, weekly all throughout the year, with student athletes, coaches, and administration. The Moments with Marshall provides the opportunity to hear from Athletics Director at Binghamton University, Gene Marshall, and a behind-the-scenes look at Binghamton. And, of course, the Bearcat Break Room with student athletes, coaches, and administration. Find it all by going to youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe and hit the notification bell. You'll also find the Bearcats by going to WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to BUBearcats.com. And as always, go Bearcats. I hope you have a wonderful day. Find us on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, X at CallDT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. God bless. No stress. Do your best. We'll talk to you soon.